This is not a regular light bulb. This looks like a regular LED light bulb, but it's not. There's a little lithium-ion battery right in here that during a power outage will keep this light lit for 8 hours. And there's even circuitry in here that knows the difference between a power outage and you wanting to turn the light off. Get the Power Light Bulb for up to 67% off by going to www.powerlightbulb.com or click the link below. Good Tuesday morning. I'm still reporting on the coup. The country is in more danger now than at any time since 1865, when 11 states had seceded from the Union and were fighting a war over their right to do so. Today we're in danger of losing our form of government once again because it depends not only on free and fair elections, but in the belief of the people of both parties that elections are free and fair. Right now we don't have that because millions of Republicans and even a significant fraction of Democrats believe the election was manipulated over the internet. The future of our country is now in the hands of the Supreme Court, which has agreed to hear 3 2020 election cases. Donald Trump has alleged widespread fraud and has amassed sufficient evidence to convince millions of Americans he is right that the election was stolen. So far, the lower courts have almost universally agreed that once a vote was counted in the 2020 election, it is by definition a valid vote. This has not been the attitude of courts in the past. Election challenges are common and are heard by courts all over the country. In a municipal election in New Jersey in 2020, a judge decided that there was so much evidence of voter fraud that the results had to be thrown out and a new election held. In North Carolina in 2018, the State Board of Elections decided that there was evidence of voter fraud in a congressional race. They refused to certify the results, and a new election was held. In both cases, it was evidence of voter fraud, not the absolute proof of voter fraud, that resulted in new elections, in part because the people didn't have confidence in the way the election was conducted. That's the way it usually happens. The evidence is presented, and judges and election officials make a determination. What makes the 2020 election frightening is that there is a lot of evidence of election misconduct on a massive scale. Evidence is not proof, which is why we have courts in this country. A judge is supposed to look at the evidence in an impartial manner and decide whether it rises to the level of ordering a new election. In North Carolina, the voter fraud case is still in the courts, so there is still no proof of voter fraud as determined by a court. But that didn't matter. A new election was ordered based on the evidence and the result that evidence had on public confidence. Certainly over 50% have lost confidence in the fairness of the national election, and the percentages are probably significantly higher. This is unprecedented territory for this country. This is failed state territory, but it could become even worse. What if this has been going on for years and years, ever since we ditched the paper ballot? It appears the last chance for the presidential election to get a hearing is the U.S. Supreme Court. There are some basic common sense questions that need to be answered. One is, why did 6 battleground states stop counting votes on election night? This has never happened before. Number 2, did any of the other 44 states stop counting votes at a similar time on election night? This is an anomaly that has to be explained, particularly because Trump was winning in all 6 states before they stopped counting and then lost all 6. If there is a reasonable explanation for this, the American people need to know what it is. But it is highly unusual for an entire state to stop counting votes on election nights, much less 6 states, even less the 6 battleground states, all of which were firmly in Trump's column when the nation went to bed that night. Individual counties may have problems, usually weather-related, that delay the results. But to stop counting votes, while not unheard of, is bizarre. And the fact that 6 battleground states stopped pretty much at the same time requires a rational explanation. Next, How did Trump lose votes? It's as unusual for a candidate to lose votes as it is for a baseball team to lose points. A run was either scored or it wasn't. Thousands of sports fans were there and watched it live. It does happen occasionally in a game that the wrong score is posted on the scoreboard, but it's worth noting that is not the official score. In the 2020 presidential election, in the official vote count feed, Trump repeatedly lost votes. How is that possible? Did this happen in states where the election was not in question? Did Joe Biden ever lose votes? If it is a glitch in the vote counting system, then it would work both ways and needs an explanation. Millions more people voted by absentee ballot in this election, which means millions voted by absentee ballot for the first time. Common sense says that the error rate of those voting by absentee ballot for the first time would be higher, but the error rate fell in the battleground states to nearly nothing. Filling out an absentee ballot in most states is complicated and somewhat confusing. It defies logic that almost none of these people filling out absentee ballots for the first time made a mistake. How did absentee ballots get returned to the election offices before they were mailed, on the day they were mailed, and one day after they were mailed? Is this a clerical error? Was this error made in other states or only in battleground states? Why were Republican poll watchers denied their legal right to observe the votes being counted? If COVID is the excuse, why were Republican poll watchers a threat and Democratic poll watchers were not? There are a lot of other questions about the election, but answering these questions would be a good start towards healing the country. Everyone who has been involved in politics for any length of time has been involved in losing elections. Sometimes it's a huge shock, but it is our system of government and we accept it. We may cry a little and complain a lot, but in the end we accept the will of the majority. If millions of Americans lose faith in the election process, we lose our form of government. Why vote if you believe that regardless of the actual vote count, the winner has been predetermined? Most Americans believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl because they scored more points. Fans of the Kansas City Chiefs might complain about the officiating or even think that playing on Tampa Bay's home field was unfair, but few are going to argue that the Chiefs actually won the game. Championship wrestling is a different story. Most people don't think that's fair and believe the outcome is determined before the wrestlers get anywhere near the ring. We can't allow our presidential elections to become like championship wrestling. But without a full and fair court proceeding to examine the existing evidence, that is the stain that will live forever on election 2020. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day. Protect with a Gold IRA this month, and Noble Gold will gift you with this stunning solid silver Apollo 11 commemorative coin from the U.S. Mint. Click on the link below or call 877-646-5346 to see if you qualify.